How do I determine my pricing, Dr. Nadia? This is probably one of the most common questions that I receive from clients and those who attend my trainings on how to improve their sales. I'm Dr. Nadia, founder of the Doyen Agency, and today we're going to go and dive in more on how to determine your pricing. Tune in. One of the questions that I'm often asked by participants in trainings or even new clients is, Dr. Nadia, how do I determine my pricing? And you would be surprised and amazed at the amount of consternation that pricing can often cause when people are making these determinations. And so there's so many reasons why it's important to look at your pricing, and not just from a revenue or sales goal point of view. Like, that's important, but there are also other things to consider. But before we get to that, like, what do you do when you are looking to determine how to set your prices for your programs and services? One of the first things is to pay attention to where fear is driving the car. So a lot of times I hear this question, and while there may be a desire to charge one price, there is this fear that comes up that causes them to want to then often lower that price, right? And a big piece of that is the question of, will anyone pay this? It's like, will people pay this amount for this program or service? And it's funny because it doesn't matter. So it's not like the investment is always like $100,000 or $50,000 or something that's like, it could be a lower investment, like 997, right? And so this fear that comes up, the questions that start to raise that cause you to pause, the gremlins, as I call them, in the back of your head that has all these what if questions, or what if this goes wrong, or will anyone pay this, or who are you to charge that? Like, all this crap that comes up, pay attention to that. Silence the noise. You cannot allow fear to drive your business, especially not driving your prices, right? It cannot be the determining factor around whether or not people will pay that investment, or those fears. Those are legitimate concerns. So we definitely then take a step back, look at your target market. Is that in alignment? Who do you really want to work with? All those different things. But you want to take it a step further and not just stop right there and allow that fear to stop you. One of the things that I often share in my trainings when it comes to pricing is this, and that is, there's a Walmart and there's a Nordstrom, and their prices are very different. They appeal to two very different markets, and the experience overall is very different. Neither one is wrong, right? There are people that love Walmart, and there are people that love Nordstrom, and there are people that love both. So you have to really understand that as you are now looking at your own company, your brand, your overall client experience, your overall company culture. All of that then ties back into your pricing. All of that should be in alignment. If there's any type of mismatch, it's going to be a problem. The second thing that I encourage you to do is to know your numbers. Like, get really clear on what it costs you to deliver said program or service. I think this is one of those areas where we really, really, really drop the ball, especially from services point of view. So take the time to get clear on your numbers. What is the cost to you for doing business? Because you don't want to ultimately be paying your clients to work with you. And it happens. If we're not careful, it can really happen. So we have to get clear on our numbers, set time aside regularly, whether it's annually or twice a year, where you actually review your numbers to make sure that everything is still in alignment. You're still working with the same type of clients. You're still offering the same types of products and services. The cost to you to provide said product or service or program is the same, or if it's shifted, maybe your pricing needs to shift. You want to take time to look at all of that. But most importantly, we have to know our numbers. So important. And then the final thing really in relation to your numbers, but I wanted to separate it because I see this often, even with myself. I am not immune to this. It's probably why it's on my, all of the reminders, even for me, is don't forget your time. Time, all in caps. So you can see my notes right now. You're like, oh my gosh, Dr. Nadia, okay. Don't forget your time. Remember to include the amount of your time that is included. And then not so much that you have to spend a lot of time necessarily providing said program or service, but and I would add, because that's not necessarily the time piece. I want you to remember it, but then I also want you to remember your years of experience, all the degrees and certifications, and whatever else that you bring to this program or service, to your clients, your coaching, your masterminds, your trainings, all the amount of time and energy and money that you have invested in you. That also is part of that too, right? That calculation. Don't leave that on the wayside. We do that all the time. So definitely consider your time. And I would dare add expertise, experience, education, all that stuff. Add that in there too. And then now we have a more robust picture around how to determine our pricing. And finally, if you need or want some support around this, I can help. I am hosting a 3-part master class. We've broken it out into 3 parts. That allows me to keep them short, but we get right down to business. And part 2 is all about courageous pricing. I see it all the time. I'm telling you, this is probably one of the biggest questions I get, other than Dr. Nadia, how do I close more sales? So join me. I would love to have you for our courageous pricing part 2 of our 3-part courageous sales masterclass. Part 2 is on July 22nd. So go ahead, click the link below to learn more information and to also reserve your seat. Trust me, bring your notebook, your pen, your pencil, your calculator. We're going to get down to business. I would love to support you in determining your pricing. So join us for the Courageous Sales Masterclass. Part 2 is all about courageous pricing. Click the link below to reserve your seat. I look forward to seeing you there. This is Dr. Nadia signing off. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.